All right, let's try this again. It's like the third take. My phone like just stopped. First time I rambled too much. The second time my phone just stopped recording. So anyway, yeah. Hey guys, welcome back. To whatever confusing bits. The thing I want to talk about today is some things I've learned about setting up a home storage server. Some of the things that I've learned, some where I came from, and the thing that I have arrived at lately. Um, so I have, of course, I'm doing the video lately. I also have like a couple of different cloud storage providers. I mean, I'm trying to move all of my data locally and reducing my reliance on cloud storage because I find like I've got things that I should be able to like transfer from one machine to another, but actually having to go up to the cloud and then back down, it's nonsense. So I'm trying to get more ownership of my data and everything. And so for a long time I had my gaming laptop, I had my work machine, but I also have a really old machine that used to be my main machine for like 13 years or something like that. It was an old Dell that I have just added to and replaced parts for for 13 years. It's the thing I learned to program on everything. I've had it forever, and I have just for a long time. I was just running Ubuntu these last couple of years. In fact, it was just I just this machine just started being a home server just like before COVID because that's when I built right before COVID was when I built my new gaming machine, which was my new main machine at the time, was just before COVID, right? Just before all of the hardware exploded in price. I got in really quickly, but but for like $800 is fantastic. But anyway, so I had this old machine and I was just running Ubuntu. I had a simple file share that I had set up with a ZFS and a couple, and some assorted 1 terabyte drives that I had collected over the years from various desktop machines. And it was just one of these old Dell machines, right? I mean, it's nothing really to these things. And this is just a spare parts machine. This isn't this is like was my parents' machine, and it gave up the ghost or whatever. So it's just been for parts. For my other machine, the old Dell, the 13-year-old Dell, is actually sitting right here in pieces, and most of the pieces have been taken out, and there it is right there. That is a a first generation i5. It is Core i5 650, right? It's two cores, four threads. It actually has hyper threading in it, so it's four threads, hardware threads, uh, and yeah, first generation i5. So yeah, it's really old, and I've had it forever. And I'm able to get away with it because that's if you buy like a NAS solution off the shelf, like a network attached source or home storage or whatever server, it's going to be maybe even not that powerful, right? Because CPUs haven't really gotten more power. They've gotten more cores. They got some more cache on them or something like that. But like the per thread performance is not very much different. And if you're not running a whole bunch of stuff, you're just running a file store server. You don't really need a big beefy CPU, in my mind. Anyway, this works out fine, right? Uh, so yeah, that's that machine here, and I needed the real kicker for me upgrading was I just ran out of space in this tiny little box here. I had like drives like hanging around, like literally hanging and dangling like inside of the case or whatever. You didn't want to move it because you jostled the drives or whatever. So I run out of space, and so I needed a bigger job. And one of the things that I came across really quickly was this fractal design case. Now this is kind of an enthusiast kind of premium case. I'm using a fractal for no, I'm using a Corsair on my game machine. So, but the fractal is like they're not the El Cheapocas. They're nice cases, but this is an older model of theirs. They're still making it. It's called the Fractal Define R5. And what's special about it is it includes all of these drive bays you don't have to buy the drive bay, the extra. So some of these enthusiast case, you can you can buy the case and it has space for more drive bays, but you have to buy the drive bay modules like separately. This includes them like automatic. So all of these this whole drive bay here is all just comes with the thing, and it comes with two fans. I think I bought two more fans also to go along with it separately. So there's the fan back there, and then I think three fans right here. Um, and I think it come with two fans, and then I think I added two more fans. Not really important. The But everything else just was from the Dell. So the power supply and even most of the cables and all of the guts and everything, all that just came from the Dell. And then you just plug them in the motherboard. So I got physical space for the drives, right? So that solved that problem. I needed to add more SATA connections because I did typical motherboards only have four, maybe six SATA connections on the motherboard itself. So that's how many drives you can connect, right? So I thought I went to Amazon. I didn't figure it would be too expensive to buy these things, so I bought one of these inexpensive PCIe to SATA expansion cards, and this was a mistake. So this is the other thing that I learned. This you'll find a whole bunch of these things are like a couple dozen dollars or something like on Amazon. They're not super expensive. Not even worth, like, they're so inexpensive. I didn't even bother returning it. Right, it's not even worth that taking the time to do that. But this has like 10 SATA connections on it, right? It was perfect for this one. I was like, yeah, we're gonna be good to go. But the way you'll know you got the wrong one is you'll load up, you'll install TrueNAS, or you'll set up your ZFS server, or you'll be on Unraid or whatever, and you'll have it all up and running, and then you'll start moving files around, and eventually you'll get readers from one of your drives, and you're like, okay, well, I got a bad drive goes out. So I had that happen to me, and I went out and I bought. I had a drive go out, and I was like, okay, all right, well, these are really old, so I guess I'll go buy a new drive replacement. So I went ahead and ordered two drives. So I have one spare. So I went and bought that, and before I even arrived, I had another drive fill. I was like, this is really odd, right? What's going on? And I started looking around. I had at some point read that you might want to get something different or whatever. For whatever reason, I had that in the back of my mind that maybe this wasn't working, and that indeed was the case. This is not what you want. This, if you've getting readers and stuff after you started and after you just installed these things, uh, these El Cheapo things, they can't handle they're like, for whatever reason, they're flaky. They cause readers or writers or something like that, and they just don't work. So what you actually need is a thing called a host bus adapter, and you'll Google the SATA or SAS host bus adapters, and particularly when you're dealing with Unraid and TrueNAS, you're going to see this LSI brand host bus adapters, and they say you can buy them new, you can buy them used. Dell makes an off-brand version of these things. This is LSI SAS 9211-8i. If you start Googling around, you're going to find this or similar ones of other. It's basically the same chip, but it's being rebranded. Like Dell has their own. It's this card, but they slap their name on it and call it theirs. So this is what you need, and what it is it's a SAS controller. It has these two connections on the back, SAS connectors, and you get these breakout cables that split off the SAS connection into SATA. So each one of these, there's two connectors, and each one of them can do four SATA connections. So you can control 8 drives just off of this one card, which is exactly what I need, because I can do all of these 8 drives, and then I have 4 ports on the motherboard, so I could do these other 2 drives plus the other 2 SSD drives that's on the back of this machine. which is all I need for this machine. So just this one card. They're not super duper expensive. Um, you'll see mentioned that you need to flash these um, and flash this into a different mode than they come automatically. I couldn't do that. My machine is ancient, and for whatever reason, the flash utility just wouldn't flash this drive. Uh, um, and so I wasn't able to work, but it still works. It just means that I don't know exactly what it does, but it just means that I have to intervene their boot up. I have to make sure it actually boots up off of my drive instead of off of this, because this is it has an integrated RAID controller, and you don't want to use the RAID controller. You just want to use it as an adapter. Um, um, but you don't have to flash it to use that way. At least in Unraid, and I don't think I tried it in TrueNAS, but at least in Unraid, you don't need to. It figures out how to use this thing without any issue. So yeah, so this is what you need instead of get this, not this piece of shit, or similar. You start googling around, these are going to come up. These LSI adapters. That was the other thing. So the case, the adapter, and let's make sure I'm still running. Nope. Yes. Yes. Okay. Sorry, my hit my leg. Sorry, it shut off on me last time, and now it's not showing that we're running. But we are. Just wanted to double check. Okay, so the case, the adapter. The other big thing was what OS I was running. Like I was running Ubuntu, or you could run Ubuntu and you could run ZFS on Ubuntu or any other Linux distribution. You could just roll your own if you wanted. I wanted a more out of the box solution that would have like a nice management interface that I could do over the web and everything, because I didn't want to have to be like physically at the machine to mess around with it. Um, to like start Docker containers or something. I didn't always have to SSH to be able to do anything. So I just wanted a nice management. And there are a couple solutions. There's, as I mentioned, there is TrueNAS, which is based around ZFS, which is a kind of a software RAID solution. That's like a fancy, like enterprise grade, whatever nonsense or whatever. And they have Unraid. TrueNAS slash FreeNAS is open source, so you can run completely free if you wanted to. Or there was Unraid, and Unraid does a completely different thing. They don't do ZFS or anything. They just store data on individual disks, just like you just put one file on one disk. You don't do striping or whatever, but they do have a concept of like parity drives. So it will track the data on each drive, the parity information on up to two different drives using two different methods, so they're independent. Each one can fail independently, and you still have safety with the parity drives. But it's a lot. It works out a lot more. So the key thing is you probably need to know. I thought I wanted to do TrueNAS as a slicker interface. It seems to be uh, a all the nerds really like TrueNAS or whatever. So I was like, I'll do TrueNAS. I'm going to do this proper or whatever. I'm technically minded. I can handle the complexity and stuff. And that was true. I could get it all running up and everything. It wasn't a big deal. But the thing that I quickly run into is the way ZFS arrays, RAID arrays work is completely in conflict with the way the home user needs to work. The way ZFS works ideally is that you requisition a whole array at once and then you never change it. The only time you change it is when you go to decommission it, right? If you need more storage, you make a new array. So you buy a whole new server or a whole new array of disk and you add it to the server. And then that's how you upgrade storage. You can't just add one disk to the array. You can't just increase the size of a disk on an array. There's no resizing. Not really. If you want to, if you have like a 5 disc array and you want it to increase the size of each of the discs, say going from 1 terabyte drives to 2 terabyte drives, you need to upgrade every single drive, all 5 drives, to 2 terabytes before you get any additional capacity. So you basically got to replace the whole thing, whole cloth, which is insane. I've seen, I think PRs or whatever, where they've been discussing this for like 5 years or something or other, and they still don't have this feature. It doesn't make any sense that this is not a feature. But that's the key limitations. And for that reason, pretty much alone, I think that use case, it makes it, that's a deal breaker, because that's not how home users work. You get one drive and then you add it, and then you get another drive and then you add it, and you get another drive and then you add it. Or one drive fails and then you replace it with a higher capacity drive, and you got more drive space and you replace the old hardware. That's the kind of use case, piecemeal, right? At home use case, and that is exactly how Unraid works. There's really only one limitation with Unraid, is that your parity drives have to be equal to or greater than the size of your greatest uh, uh, data drive. So, like, I'm in the process of upgrading mine right now. I had a whole bunch of these terabyte drives. I had one drive fail, this one right here. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and try this, try upgrading. So I went and got on the calculator and did the Google search and everything, and found out that I can get 4 terabyte drive, and that was kind of the best bang for the buck right now, for at least for the Western Digital drives that I found new on Amazon at the time. I went ahead and got 4 terabyte drives. So in order for me to do the upgrade, since all of my disks were 1 terabyte, I have to replace both parity drives with 4 terabyte drives, and then I get to add a 4 terabyte drive. So I bought 3 drives, and that's one data drive and two in the two parity drives. So I can upgrade any of the, from here on out, I can upgrade any of the additional drives to 4 terabytes without having to upgrade the parity drives again. So that was a huge upgrade basically. And it went off like a hitch. I just replaced the parity drive, it rebuilt, and then I'm in the other process of replacing the other parity drive. It is in the process of rebuilding right now. And then after that, I will add my new 4 terabyte data drive plus the two parity drives, the 2 terabytes that I had on parity drives. I get that out of them as data drives now. So I got 6 terabyte from that upgrade. 6 terabytes out of 12, which isn't bad. Um, so yeah, this is the way this works is fits the use case so much better. So I would recommend that if you are going to run a home server, Unraid, it could do just about everything that you need to do. It's going to handle all your storage. You can run a whole bunch of network services like through Docker and everything. There's also virtual machines. I haven't used them, but there's virtual machine support. Has a nice, relatively easy to use interface. I mean, it's not the snazziest one. TrueNAS's user interface is a lot slicker, but Unraid is just fine. It's pretty easy to use. The learning curve is not that much different from TrueNAS, actually. So I would definitely recommend Unraid. It costs money, unlike the free solution with FreeNAS, but I think it's well worth the money. It's like $50 for like the unlimited. You can do a free trial, but there's like 50. It's like $50 uh, uh, for like unlimited drives or something like that. It's not. It's I think it was less than $100 for, and it's well worth it. Anyway, the what else do I have to mention? Are we still rolling? Yeah, we are. We've been going for 20 minutes. So I could probably wrap this up. So yeah, that was the big thing. Is the structural defined case is a great solution if you're looking for, moving up from. You start with this, right? Start with your desktop, the old machine. Use that as until you can get till you need more like physical space or whatever. and then get you a case or whatever. And then if you're running a whole bunch more drives now, you're going to need to get a SAS control, the host bus adapter, and then you're going to want to run Unraid most likely. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. It's great tinkering, homework network stuff. So you can like run Home Assistant or Pi-hole or whatever Plex Media servers, all sorts of stuff. And plus, I got a place to store all my video files and all my backup stuff. And then eventually, I'm going to have this thing um, backing up to like S3 for like cold storage backup, like bulk cold storage backup. The thing that like Azure and Google Drive and stuff like that, basically that they're doing in the background for your stuff, and then I could turn off all of the OneDrive and I can lower my iCloud account, and I don't need all that space anymore. Not saving a whole bunch of money. I mean, it would take years to pay off the cost here, but it's also, it's fun. There's also peace of mind or whatever, kind of a little bit like I got my, oh yeah. So I've got like my DVDs collections or whatever. I've started like collecting DVDs now, and you can get like the ripping the DVDs and just store them on your server, and you can run like a home media server with all. So I don't have to worry about where, you know, Star Trek: The Next Generation is this week. Is it on Netflix? Is it on Amazon? Where is it? I don't have to worry about that. I have my own copy locally. My legal copy. I have the DVDs. I just have it. I don't have to. I don't have to have the DVD player. It's nice. Um, you do things like that. Plus, I got all my CDs and stuff, like all my music and everything. I can put it here because some of the stuff that I have isn't even available like on Spotify or anything. So that's great, especially like a lot of the Japanese stuff that I have from my time in the Marines. But like I couldn't I don't I would I can't even type it in the keyboard to search it. Like I can't speak Japanese, so I can't even like type it in to find the music, right? But I got the CD. Anyway, it's just a lot of fun, and I hope you guys found it helpful. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next one.